Hi everyone. Well, let's see how this is looking. You know, I try to set it up with a video. I want to get good at doing these lives, and getting it all set up is kind of tricky and a little temperamental. Here we go. This is summer solstice time. It's a very mystical time. It's a very getting into what's happening in the universe kind of time. It's like a pause, you know. It's a shifting of cycles in the universe where, you know, we're celebrating the first day of summer, but it's also the longest day of the year. After this, it's going to start to get, the days will start to get gradually shorter. And I've always made a painting at this time. And I just want to start, you know, I'm working in my Arteza sketch pad. Let me show you. I have a second one. Arteza. Okay? It's really great because it holds up paint, it holds up anything you want to throw at it. It's a good size, and if you like it, it has a perforated edge. You can gently tear it out and frame it and do things like that. But it's also become my journal. And at times of the year like this, you know, I want to kind of mark this time. If my thinking mind took over, I would do a demo on clouds, but no, that just doesn't feel right at this point. So let me try to get out of that whole thinking mind and see where it takes us. I just have this image. I don't know. We live in the Litchfield Hills. They're wonderful. They're wonderful kind of hills. I do have little tape around the edge so that when I take it off, it will have a nice white, clean edge. And these hills are just so incredible. Let's see if I have you know, I work with anything that works, you know, some of those Neil colors, oil pastels, all kinds of things. And oil pastels will resist paint. But I'm also having a feeling here of something else. There's going to be something else happening down and through here. You know, you want to get to a place where you just start to work and not think too much. You don't want to let your thinking brain take over too much, and just come from a place of creating and seeing where you end up with it all. I carry colors throughout the page. Your mark. And I'm really drawn to cobalt. So I have some cobalt on my my palette. And I'm thinking, you know, I always like the corners to be a little deeper. And let's see here. Where is my water bottle? Let's just give this a spritz. It's really warmed up here today. It feels like summer. And my palette there's this color of Prussian and warm white that I really, really like. Let's get the corners a little deeper. And I want to mix some cobalt in with everything. Baby wipes. Baby wipes carry the color through Cobalt is kind of like a, has a purpley color to it. And you know, you start with some colors and things get kind of covered over, and you never know what you're going to end up with. What do you do when you don't know what you want to do, but you want to stay painting? You want to keep painting. You know, what is it that you do? Do you go to more inexpensive paper to just play? Do you work in a journal? Do you have an art journal? I'd love to know what you do and what you think. You know, what I've been talking to my people a lot about is how you feel towards the art you do. You know, your attitude towards the art you do. And your attitude about supplies and materials. You know, when you don't know what you want to do, I'll go to less expensive stuff. And that's just what I do, you know. When I was teaching high school, we had a supply room, and pretty much when you started the year, you started with whatever was there, and you'd have to wait for orders to come in and things like that, and so you make do. You just make do with whatever there is there. And you had to make it go for a long time. You had to make it last. So there was always that aspect of being thrifty. But the truth is, you really have to do a lot of painting to get good. I mean, you have to do a lot of anything to get good. It takes practice, you know. You need to have materials that aren't real precious, but you can't approach it from a place of lack, you know. You have to approach it from a place of abundance. So you get some kind of paper that it doesn't matter, you know. You keep using it, and you keep going for something great each time. And the more you do, the better you get. So we must be abundant artists. We must feel that abundance in our supplies, in our time, setting time aside to do art, you know. That's all big. In our studio space, you know, when you get an idea, you want to just be able to go, just do it. We spend so much time getting to, you know, set it up, get our art supplies out. If you have a place where you can keep your art supplies, that's fantastic. Then they're there, ready for you when you are, you know. And, you know, when things are far in a distance, these Litchfield Hills, they're very pale. It's kind of like using the same colors we're using here, but creating something way off there. Something pale. And I switch my brushes a lot to to get different strokes, different things happening. Some of the master painters, you know, they could go in and look at an exhibit, and they'd know if an artist used the same brush for a whole painting. They could tell, because it was all the same kind of stroke. And we need differences, you know. We need to find something that has a little bit of difference happening. Let's see here. So do you paint when it's like summer solstice? Do you do something creative like that? I kind of roll the brush. What creative thing can you do? You know, this is a time. You should read my blog. I've listed a whole bunch of things going on in the world at this time. Where gatherings used to be, Stonehenge is going to have live streaming of the dawn, which is pretty interesting concept. And there's a link with my blog, so if you find that, you can check that out. And whenever, figure out your time frame wherever you are in the world. I didn't know I'd put violet out. Oh, that's good. I'm feeling like, you know, sometimes it's hard to turn off the thinking mind and get into the feeling mind of it all. But love to know what you think, if you have an art journal, if you use an art journal. You know, an art journal is a great thing to have. Well, I use it for times like these. And to keep track of art you've made, and take notes about it. So often when we do something, an art piece, we don't remember how we did it. So I try to keep notes going of what it is I have. I love this big brush. You know, when I really want something to work, I'm thinking, let's get a little bit of some texture going on. Different. Your mind always wants to put together something like, you know, well, it's a tree line or something. It's things happening. You want your eye to be carried around a picture. want things to be interesting everywhere you look, whatever that means to you. There are times you have to stand back away from it and get a better view. I always loved oil pastel and paint. It created such a great texture of things happening. And let colors mix on the page. I know I need some Prussian blue. Prussian blue is one of my favorites. That's what I thought I was putting out there when it turned out to be violet. Well, that's okay too. My Prussian, so rich, and layers build up. And things at the bottom you want to appear closer, more detail and things like that. I have all these different little lighting things. I'm hoping that they are all substantial enough to show the work. You know, this paper works so well because you can kind of like scrub into it. You can make things happen with it. You can make marks happening. And your mind puts it together. You don't have to, you know, I have no end in mind here of what this is supposed to be. So we'll see, we'll end up what we end up with here. Litchfield Hills are really interesting. They're pretty. You know, I live in a river town, and these Litchfield Hills just kind of permeate everything. I never liked the idea. I've never been able to do abstract, but I do like color studies. And I guess that's as abstract as I can get is my color studies. And I think that's what a lot of this will come out to be. But for Solstice. And lines. And maybe there are going to be a few clouds after all. let's see what we do. When you do clouds, you need a very, very soft brush. So let's see what we got here. Very soft brush. Kind of a curvy brush would be a good thing. A rounded brush. I have one of these, and you need things really kind of just a few kind of wispy things, and let the brush do the work for you. Kind of roll this around. And then it all kind of, use one of these, all kind of fades down into the color at the bottom. Clouds have been like rolling over. Get a little bit more white. Clouds over clouds. You know, I tried to take pictures this morning and they were turning out to be things. I had a bunny cloud and wispy things. I can look out here right now. And the clouds are so incredible. And get a little bit of this a little deeper in. Parts. And things blend in. And the clouds have these little bit of the very top, some white. They seem to come up out of the horizon. Let it disappear. And, you know, we always need some contrast. We need some contrast. So clean off the brush and get some real depth going on in there. Texture. Things happening. I go with wonderful colors. And create some depth. You know, I use a lot of pencils with my oil pastels. And sometimes, you know, you just have to kind of know when it feels like it's done. And let happy accidents happen. Sometimes there are like these yellow poppies. That seem to appear. So probably at about this point, I would take a step back. Find some bottom ground in through here. And, you know, I think maybe that's about it for today. Take a step back, you know, come back to it tomorrow. Sometimes a painting calls to you over a number of days. So, you know, you can make a masterpiece really fast, and you can destroy it just as fast. So you want to kind of have a feel for, you know, enough for today. And I'm pleased with the sky and the clouds. And I needed this distance. I needed these hills. I needed things happening in color. So thanks so much for being here. Ask me any questions. I'd love to hear from you. And see you next time. Bye for now.